Welcome back everyone. I hope you're having an amazing day because today's story is one you seriously do not want to miss. This is one of those moments that starts with jaw-dropping talent, turns into edge-of-your-seat suspense, and then takes an unexpected emotional turn that leaves everyone in the room completely stunned. What began as a high-risk acrobatic audition on Britain's Got Talent slowly revealed an awkward love triangle that no one, not the judges, not the audience, and not even the performers themselves, were prepared for. So sit back, relax, and let's dive straight into one of the most unforgettable auditions ever to grace the BGT stage. The lights dim, the crowd buzzes with excitement, and the familiar music fills the theater as the camera sweeps across the judges' table. Smiles are exchanged, jokes are made, and everything feels normal, comfortable, predictable. Then the announcer's voice echoes through the hall, calling out the next act. 3 performers walk onto the stage together, and immediately, something feels different. They're dressed in sleek, modern outfits, clearly designed for acrobatics, but their body language is strange. One of them walks confidently at the front, another follows closely behind, and the third lingers just slightly to the side, as if unsure where they belong. Simon leans forward, curious. Amanda smiles warmly. Alicia tilts her head, already sensing a story. Bruno claps his hands, eager for what's to come. The lead performer steps forward and introduces the group. They explain they are an acrobatic trio, combining strength, balance, and trust to push human limits. It sounds impressive, but there's tension in their voices, subtle pauses, glances exchanged that last a second too long. The judges ask how long they've been working together. The answer comes with hesitation. Several years, they say, but the way they look at each other suggests it hasn't always been easy. Before anyone can ask more, the music starts. From the very first move, it's clear this is no ordinary acrobatic act. Their timing is razor sharp. One performer launches into the air, twisting and flipping before being caught inches from the floor. The audience gasps. The second performer lifts the first with unbelievable strength, while the third balances above them both, forming shapes that look almost impossible. Every movement demands complete trust. One slip, one moment of doubt, and everything could fall apart. As the routine builds, the suspense becomes almost unbearable. The music grows louder, the movements faster, riskier. The lead performer climbs onto the shoulders of the others, rising higher and higher, until they're standing above everyone, arms stretched wide. The theater is silent. You can hear people holding their breath. Then, suddenly, the performer jumps, spinning through the air, and lands perfectly in the arms of the others. The crowd erupts. But something still feels off. Midway through the routine, there's a moment where one performer is supposed to be caught by the other two. It's a dangerous move, one that requires perfect coordination. They leap, and for a split second, it looks like they won't make it. Hands fumble, eyes widen. The audience lets out a collective gasp. At the last possible moment, the catch is secured. They recover quickly, continuing as if nothing happened, but the tension is now thick enough to cut with a knife. As the performance reaches its climax, the trio forms a final human tower. The top performer looks down, locking eyes first with one partner, then the other. The look is intense, emotional, almost too personal for a stage performance. With a slow, controlled descent, they finish the routine, landing perfectly as the music cuts out. The audience explodes into applause. People are on their feet. The judges stand, clapping, clearly impressed. It's the kind of performance that reminds everyone why they love this show. When the clapping finally dies down, Simon speaks first. He praises the danger, the precision, the trust it takes to do something like that on live television. He mentions that moment where it almost went wrong, asking if that was part of the act or a real mistake. There's a pause. The lead performer smiles nervously and admits it wasn't supposed to happen. The slip was real. The tension on stage suddenly makes sense. Amanda gently asks if everything is okay between them. That's when things take an unexpected turn. One of the performers steps forward, taking a deep breath, and says there's something they should explain. The trio didn't just come together as acrobats. Two of them were in a relationship when they first started training. They trained together, lived together, dreamed together. Their chemistry helped build the act into what it is today. The audience murmurs. Then the performer continues. Over time, feelings changed. Another member of the trio became involved. What started as professional trust slowly turned into something more complicated. Now, standing on this stage, all three of them are connected not just by acrobatics, but by unresolved emotions. The theater goes quiet. Alicia's eyes widen. Bruno looks genuinely shocked. Simon raises his eyebrows, clearly not expecting this confession. Amanda's expression softens with empathy. The performer explains that the tension during the routine came from that emotional history. Trust isn't just physical for them. It's emotional too. Every lift, every catch, every leap is layered with feelings they're still trying to understand. The judges ask the other two how they feel. One admits it hasn't been easy. Training together after heartbreak and jealousy was one of the hardest things they've ever done. The other says that despite everything, they all chose to stay together because the act means more to them than their personal pain. This audition wasn't just about talent. It was about facing everything head-on, in front of the world. The audience begins to applaud again, this time softer, more supportive. You can feel the empathy in the room. Simon asks a final question. Why now? Why reveal this on stage? The answer is simple but powerful. Because this stage represents truth. You can't fake trust at this level. You either fall together or you fly together. When it comes time to vote, the judges don't hesitate. Each one praises not only the technical brilliance of the act, but the courage it took to perform under such emotional pressure. 4 yeses light up the screen. The trio hugs, emotions pouring out. Relief, pride, and unresolved feelings all mixing together in one overwhelming moment. The audience cheers as they walk off stage, knowing they've just witnessed something far deeper than an audition. As the camera fades out, one thing is clear. This wasn't just a performance. It was a story of love, conflict, trust, and resilience, told not with words, but with gravity-defying movement and raw honesty. Moments like this are why Britain's Got Talent continues to surprise us. Talent comes in many forms, but when skill and real human emotion collide, the result is unforgettable. As the trio disappears behind the curtain, the applause still echoes through the theater, but backstage, the atmosphere is completely different. The bright smiles fade into heavy breaths, trembling hands, and emotions that can no longer be hidden. The adrenaline from the performance crashes all at once, leaving silence, broken only by the sound of their breathing and the distant cheers of the audience. One of them sits down on the floor, head in hands. Overwhelmed. Another paces back and forth, replaying every risky moment in their mind. The third stands still, staring at the floor, as if trying to ground themselves after being suspended both physically and emotionally just moments ago. What the audience doesn't see is that this audition forced them to confront feelings they'd been avoiding for years. A producer approaches, congratulating them, telling them the judges were blown away. The words should feel like victory, but instead, they bring tears. One performer finally breaks down, admitting they were terrified the entire time. Not just of falling, but of failing each other. When your heart is tangled with your teammates, every move carries double the weight. Later, in a quiet interview room, the trio sits together again. This time, the energy is raw and unfiltered. They're asked how the love triangle began, and after a long pause, the story unfolds. Two of them met years ago at a small acrobatics gym. They were young, ambitious, and instantly connected. Training sessions turned into late-night conversations. Trust built slowly, naturally, until it became something deeper. The third performer joined later. At first, they were just the strongest addition to the team, the missing piece that elevated the act. But as weeks turned into months, emotional lines blurred. Shared pain, shared risks, shared dreams have a way of pulling people together. What none of them expected was how deeply complicated it would become. One admits they felt betrayed. Another confesses they never meant to hurt anyone. The third says they were caught between guilt and feelings they couldn't control. Yet, despite everything, none of them walked away. The act was bigger than any one person. It became the only place where everything made sense, even when their personal lives didn't. When the results episode arrives weeks later, the tension returns. Standing backstage again, they hold hands, not romantically, but as teammates. Whatever happens, they promise to face it together. The announcer calls their name, and they step forward, hearts pounding. Their second performance is even more dangerous. Higher lifts, faster transitions, no room for hesitation. This time, the trust feels different. It's not forced, it's earned. The audience senses it immediately. Every catch is clean, every landing precise. When the routine ends, the cheers are louder than before. But the real test comes afterward. Simon comments on how much stronger they looked, asking if things have changed between them. One performer answers honestly, they're still figuring things out. There are no easy endings. No perfect resolutions. But they've learned something important. Trust doesn't mean pretending nothing happened. It means choosing to show up anyway. Amanda praises their vulnerability. Alicia talks about how rare it is to see emotional growth reflected so clearly in physical performance. Bruno, emotional himself, says their story made the performance unforgettable. They advance to the next round. Backstage, the mood is lighter this time. There's laughter mixed with relief. For the first time in a long while, they feel proud not just of what they did on stage, but of how they handled what came after. The love triangle no longer defines them. It's part of their history, not their future. As the competition continues, rumors swirl online. Fans debate who belongs with whom. Comments pour in, some supportive, others invasive. The trio makes a decision together. They stop reading the comments. This journey is theirs, not the internet's. By the time the semifinals arrive, something remarkable has happened. The emotional tension that once threatened to tear them apart has transformed into something stronger. Not romance. Not rivalry. Respect. They understand each other now in a way few people ever will. Their semifinal performance tells that story without a single word. The choreography shows separation, conflict, and reunion. When one falls, the others catch them. When one hesitates, the others wait. The audience feels it. The judges feel it. The silence before the final move is so intense it feels endless. When the routine ends, the theater erupts. Regardless of the final outcome, one truth is undeniable. This was never just about winning a competition. It was about proving that even the most awkward, painful, and complicated situations can be transformed into something powerful. As they leave the stage together, there are no dramatic kisses, no forced happy endings. Just three people walking forward, stronger than when they arrived, carrying a story that will stay with everyone who witnessed it. And that's what makes this moment unforgettable. Not the flips, not the danger, but the courage to stand under bright lights, with nothing to hide, and trust each other anyway. If you've ever wondered how much emotion can exist behind a single performance, this story is your answer. And sometimes, the most suspenseful part of the act isn't the fall, but the feelings that come with it. If this story moved you, amazed you, or made you see talent shows in a whole new way, don't forget to support the channel by liking the video and sharing it with someone who loves incredible performances and real stories. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.